Mr. Nader?
Yes.
So lovely to see you.
Thank you.
You've been fighting since the 60s. There's been a lot of progress in terms of consumer advocacy, consumer rights, human rights. This election may be a bit of a setback on that front. Why does that happen?
Well, because you only have two parties and people vote for the least worst. And we have a system where Hillary Clinton wins the popular vote and loses the election because of the Electoral College. The other thing is the labor movement has been weakened. There's more money in politics. There's more ability to bargain against workers by threatening to take plants abroad, facilitated by these trade agreements. There are a lot of trends in the wrong direction, and along comes, a failed gambling czar who's a corporate welfare king, cheats his suppliers and workers, and lo and behold, he was surprised like all of us. He's suddenly on his way to the presidency, even though he lost the popular vote. So we have to regroup. We got to remobilize.
Last Tuesday, a lot of people were stunned by the results, the Trump victory. Were you? And how do you explain what happened?
I think what happened was when the FBI director said, well, we're opening up another inquiry, that broke the momentum. And there was nobody more surprised than Donald Trump. I mean, when he came out of that White House after the meeting with President Obama, I looked at him and I said, here's one of the most scared men in the country. I mean, he said, what? I don't know anything about this office. And now my party is in charge of the Congress, the Supreme Court, and the executive branch.
You don't think he wanted to be president?
At the beginning, I don't think so. But, he has such a bruisable ego that if somebody dares him, like you really don't want to be president, you just want to improve the brand name Trump on your hotels and condos, he'll say, oh, yeah? So we're dealing with an unstable personality. I really mean that seriously. I think a lot of people believe that. And that means if we have a major terrorist attack or two, he can become a monster. He knows how to talk to a lot of people on TV, and he's hiring warfare people looking for a fight, except hopefully he'll take care of the Russia thing.
You mean with the latest nominations?
Yeah, with the latest nomination.
To his cabinet, yeah.
Now, it could go another way, too. I mean, he has dumped the PTT. He helped the progressive movement, yeah. Pacific Trade Agreement. And, he's ended the Bush and Clinton dynasties. I mean, you have to pay some debt of gratitude to that. However, it doesn't look good, Wendy, and that's why we have to be ready, because if we just wait for something to happen, we'll never catch up as a people. And we have common interests, Canadians and the American people, and we've got to get going on it.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of the adversaries overseas see us as a sitting duck of provocation, with a person who will lash back. I mean, he got up in 3 a.m. to Twitter about a former Miss Universe being overweight. I mean, and so they're going to provoke us. And Obama was not as restrained as I like him to be, but I can see Trump becoming a monster. Massive attack, massive retaliation, and then there'll be a boomerang bang here. And then what happens to our civil liberties? What happens to our domestic necessities and priorities? What happens to everything that's crowded out by the war on terrorism?
How much of this was a backlash against Hillary Clinton, or people not liking...
Huge.
Not liking a female, or not liking the Democrats?
No, not liking the Clintons. You ask Trump supporters, why are you supporting Trump? Look what he's done to women, look what he says about minorities. And they say, well, I don't really like that, but I can't stand Hillary Clinton. I don't trust her. She came in 65% untrustworthy. Trump was higher even. But Trump had a way to overcome that with his clever little slogans. He says he's going to make America great again, and I fear he may make America break again.
A lot of people watching the results. Florida, crucial state, could have helped determine who won that night. So some people were having flashbacks, you know where this is going, when you were a presidential candidate and Florida was hanging. And some people blamed you for being the spoiler, that Al Gore could have been president.
Yeah, well, that's the Democratic scapegoating. And the more the Democrats scapegoat, the more they don't look themselves in the mirror And the more they don't ask themselves, why aren't they landsliding the Republican Party, which is the most ruthless, ignorant party in its 164-year history based on the votes in Congress?
Well, this time, because people didn't like Trump, didn't like Clinton, there were 2 third-party candidates. They got 5 million votes.
Yes.
Could have made a big difference.
Yes, but
they're
it
being
did,
called spoilers too.
Yeah,
like you were called a spoiler.
Yeah. Well, a spoiler is a political bigoted word only directed to third parties that are trying to upend a spoiled political system run by the two-party tyranny. We know that game. But what we now need is a citizen mobilization of conservative and liberals back home, and when there is, it's an unstoppable political movement.
Progress has been made in terms of safe cars
Yes.
and clean drinking water and so on. Do you think progress has been made on the political front?
No, it's regressed largely because of the crushing power of money in politics, which discourages good people from running, shapes policy, the people who take the money, weakens the labor movement, and I must say, it seriously deteriorates the mass media.
But now a guy who has a lot of money and thinks money is wonderful is in charge. Why do you think you're going to get anywhere?
Because there's such a thing as overplaying their hand. And I think they're coming into office drunk with their own power. They have all 3 branches of government. They have 32 governorships, 28 state legislatures. And they think they're going to make do what they want to make do. And he's going to have his family involved. They're not going to be paid, but there's nepotism there. It's going to be a lot of intrigue. They're going to overplay their hand.
But protests are going to stop?
There'll be
that?
all kinds of protests,
But
but
does that
that's
work?
not enough. That's to tell Donald Trump there's a pulse out there, don't go too far. However, and they'll do it in front of his hotels, and he's got terrific brand place for these protests.
So we've been digging back in CBC archives, found something of you in 1965.
Yes.
Most hours have 60 minutes. This hour has 7 days. Tonight, Ralph Nader charges the Detroit car companies with running risks that can't hurt them.
Do you remember that?
Of course, because when my book on safety and speed came out, criticizing cars by make and model, it was taboo in the U.S. media. Couldn't get any attention. And so I flew to Toronto, and they beamed it over through Windsor to Detroit and Buffalo. And I came back to Washington, and suddenly I had calls from the U.S. media. So I have big debt for CBC.
So that was the first exposure that you got for that book and that message?
That's right.
Wow. Huh. So you owe us your whole career.
Well, I tried to repay it by this little book we put out, Canada First, in 1993. Again, I couldn't get a publisher in Canada because publishers said, "Are you kidding? Canadians are so modest. They're interested in a book on where they've been first in the world in science, technology, social policies." I said, yeah, I think they would like it. And I finally got McClellan Stewart, and it was a 43-week bestseller. But it does point out the Canadians got to toot their horn more, especially what's coming in the States.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.